Hi guys, this is extremely concerning. It may be a policy of the Labour Party at the moment to keep quiet, don't rock the boat and see the Tories trashed at the next general election, and that's fine. However, when the future chancellor talks to the business community, she has to lay out a plan, and it seems that she's going to continue to stick to fiscal rules that will put a future government in an economic straitjacket. Rachel Reeves is selling the idea that stability will lead to growth. Now, I'm not an economist, but that sounds iffy. Here Nick Thomas Simmons tried to defend it.
So that's your argument. Sharon Graham from Unite says that Labour's sticking to phony fiscal rules, which I think she is referring to sticking broadly to conservative fiscal rules, that Labour's ruling out taxing the wealthy more, and you've ended up in a straitjacket of your own making where you can't make radical decisions on increasing public investment because you have set these guardrails for how you want to deliver on the economy.
Although I think that actually being
does it not worry you? Let's just break it. Does it not worry you when the head of Unite, a massive union, is this critical of Labour's economic plan? Let's just boil it down.
Well, obviously, whoever is having this discussion with us, whether it's a trade union leader or indeed anyone else, of course you want to have that discussion. And this evening, Rachel will be making that speech. But in terms of being radical and bringing about change, you can't do that without fiscal and economic stability. That's the bedrock upon which change is built. And that.
Okay, so it's more austerity. Like, what is the alternative? He said there's not going to be anything radical. And it seems Rachel Reeves has ruled out taxing the rich even more. So then how are you going to get the money to rebuild public services? Now, there are a number of other problems that need to be dealt with. For example, the NHS waiting list. How are you going to bring that down unless you invest in the public services? How are you going to invest in public services if you don't increase taxes? Or if you don't borrow? If you're going to stick within these fiscal rules? The fiscal rules are basically, we're not going to do anything different than the Tories are doing. We're not going to tax the richest in society more. So think about it for a moment. If you actually tax the richest in society more, you wouldn't have to borrow so much, you wouldn't have to raise taxes on the poorest in society, and you wouldn't have to implement austerity. Because if you continue with austerity, means less money for public services, means less investment, means the NHS waiting list would probably increase, not decrease, because you're not going to have more money for the NHS and public services. That means more and more people are going to be off sick on the waiting list, waiting to get cured, waiting for treatment so they can get back into employment. That's a drag on the economy. So once again, I don't know how you're going to grow the economy unless you give it a cash injection. It needs a cash injection. And the only viable place to take that money from is the richest in society, who have benefited over the last 14 years from the Tories just handing them cash. So that needs to be clawed back. You can talk about changes to the NHS, reforming it and stuff like that, but it needs money. It needs staff as well. One way to maintain the staff is to pay them more. That costs money. You have to recruit staff. That costs money. Be it bringing them in from abroad or trying to train them up within the UK. This all costs money. You need to invest in it. Once again, I'm not an economist, but the only ways I can see this working is you either impose more austerity, you borrow more, you tax the poorest in society more, you do a round of quantitative easing, which has its negative impacts as well, or you tax the richest in society. Some of the richest in society are saying, please tax us, we're not taxed enough. The patriot millionaires. So I really don't understand why Labour aren't doing this. You're not going to lose support with the voting public. I know the Tories will attack them on it, but the Tories are crashing and burning at the moment. So it makes economic sense, I think, to impose a higher rate of tax on the richest in society. It's been calculated, it's been estimated to bring in about between 100 and 150 billion pounds. Plough that money into the NHS, bring down the waiting list, get more people off the waiting list, get their treatment, back into work. That helps grow the economy. Reform the immigration system where you can bring in more people from abroad. trash these stupid Tory policies, these anti-immigration policies, replace them with more humanitarian ones, more welcoming ones where you can get the carers in. They don't have to shop around. They're not encouraged to go to Canada or Australia. They actually come to the United Kingdom. So this takes the pressure off the NHS as well. And of course, when it comes to immigration, a more reasonable plan would be to allow more and more people in, because farms, hospitality and other sectors are crying out for labour. If they can't get the labour they need, they're not going to grow their businesses, and that doesn't help the economy. So there are so many things, but one, I don't like to say a silver bullet, but it's close to a silver bullet, would be a tax on the richest in society, on their wealth, on their income. Tax that to the hilt. They're not going to leave. They've threatened it before and they've never left. Call their bluff. But you'd actually have a huge amount of cash and you'd be able to plough that into public services. You'd be able to see investment return, and then you'd be able to grow the economy. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.